Yeah. Excellent question. So yeah, is there a time is there a time limit to redemption? Like, do we get a second chance kind of after we die, or down the road could we kind of change our mind and enter the kingdom? And a few thoughts on that. One of the ways that I've heard it in the past is folks going like, well, if the gates of God's kingdom are wide open, like why not? Can I just enter later? And it's enter later. And one of the things for me, I think pastorally would be to go, man, if the reality is if you're saying that God's embrace is there for you today, but you don't want it, you prefer, that feels like dangerous territory in the sense of going, it seems revealing that you don't actually want life with God. You prefer, not you, but, the person asking that, the person going like, dude, if God's gates are open, I'll just enter 30 years from now, or, I'll have my fun now and go, like, that's revealing that, like, I actually prefer life on my own to life with God. And I think the danger there from kind of the biblical image is that there is that strong imagery of the hardening of our heart, that kind of the sense that the further and deeper we go in to that kind of resistance, the more we seem to kind of enclose and encase ourselves against God. And so I think at that level, it's dangerous territory. I do think, as I mentioned earlier, that God's judgment when he shows up is a surprise. And one of the ideas I explore in the book is that I think the reason it's a surprise is in part because God knows us better than we know ourselves. And I think there are those who ultimately, there are folks going like, God, I knew you. And he's like, I never knew you. And there are folks that Jesus has welcomed in with open arms, and they never seem to realize there was an in and out to begin with. Like, where did I see you? Where did I know you? So there's kind of the surprise that's going on. And I think it's, the picture, though, it's not so much like it's a surprise because folks are changing their mind, but more it's a surprise because God is calling things out as they really are. And knows us better than we know ourselves. And so at judgment, I think that's part of what's going on there is God is revealing and bringing that out. I do think that one of the challenges that we have in kind of the Western world is that we tend to see the world much more abstractly than the Hebrew kind of worldview. And so I've noticed often in kind of American conversations on hell, one of the immediate things is going like, okay, I can imagine like 1 year, or maybe for 10 years, but 100, can you imagine 100 years or 1,000,000 years? It's like we kind of abstract, like, I can't imagine being absent for God 1,000,000 years. And even some folks have used that to scare tactics, on folks, like, can you imagine being apart from God for 1,000,000 years? And that's not, it doesn't seem to me to be the way that actually the Hebrew worldview and the New Testament and all are using the language. It seems like the emphasis is much more on the immediacy of kind of going like, God is good, he's coming to establish his kingdom, and when he establishes it, dude, things are going to get shaken up, last or first or last, the wicked who prospered are, boom, booted or revealed, and the righteous who suffered are vindicated, and it's kind of God is setting things right, and so make yourself ready for the kingdom today. Kind of make yourself ready for the kingdom today. And so, again, like I think one of the issues with the caricatures that are prominent today is that they have become so abstract from that kind of a mindset, where I would rather kind of push us back towards just that immediacy of God's kingdom's coming, and we're invited to, even called to kind of prepare ourselves and make ourselves ready. And that when God does, he'll set things right, and he'll do what's right. Yeah. So it is a good question on that kind of ongoing one, though. I just will kind of leave it in tension. I mean, one final thought too is I found it almost feels a little. I feel like I would be a little condescending to say to my neighbor, not my literal neighbor, but buddies I know or whatever who don't want to follow God, don't love Jesus, and almost condescending for me to go, well, just give it enough time, you'll come around. Like, you'll kind of make your way around to my perspective. And a lot of them would go, no, I won't, dude. Like, I really prefer life without your God. I prefer life on my own. And so at one level, I feel like there's almost a certain respect that's afforded to go, I'm going to, I love God. I think he's going to do what's good and right. And I want to also hold out the kind of respect for the fact that you don't want that, and there's a space, that God's gracious enough to create a space for that.